Hello, this is Abby.
Dear Abby, this is gonna be a long one.
Oh boy.
Dear Abbey, how do you tell the difference between a new exciting crush and a rebound?
Does it matter?
Dear Abby.
Dear Abbey,
Dear Abby.
Welcome to our little corner of the internet. This is the Dear Abbey podcast. I hope you stay and hang out with us. See you in a sec. Hi, welcome back to another episode of Dear Abby. Thank you so much for joining me today. I feel like a woman. I feel like an old person because I need to shove pillows in my back when I sit down so my back doesn't start to hurt. But yeah, I feel great, I feel great. Happy to be here. Thanks for joining us today. I just listed out everything that I wanted to say, and I forgot all of it just barely. Welcome back, you guys, to Dear Abby. I am your host. My name is Abby. Happy to be of assistance today. Today we are talking about ways to take back initiative or take back your life. And this goes for post-recovery, in recovery, when you're feeling better, just in general, if you've been in a slump and you need something to kind of kick you in the butt. And also just practical things you can actually do to help yourself. I'm going to share a couple of ways that I do that and a couple of ways to kind of combat the procrastination, which we talked about last week, and also the distraction, like the whole idea that distraction, though it may feel easy, is not freedom. And distraction is definitely not freedom. And it almost feels like a cage to be in, especially in a world where we are fed with so much noise and it's a lot of dopamine. Our dopamine receptors are a little bit insatiable and like gluttonous at this point. This week I've noticed within myself when I turn something off, whether it be music or a video or a show, like my brain is craving more and it's almost demanding that I turn something else on. So I'm very aware of that now. And it's a very active practice of turning things off and not just constantly giving my receptors what they are demanding. But that's, I think, one area that can be a distraction or can just be something that makes us mentally struggle. And I don't know the science behind it. I didn't do any research on that. If we are fed and we get a lot of dopamine every day, when we produce a lot of dopamine because we're watching stuff or we're listening to music, whatever it is, how down the road, if that affects your mental health. And especially if you have OCD or anxiety and depression, like what does that do? And I'm sure there's podcasts out there that talk about that. I'm now realizing I probably should have done research on that so I can link any. But to sum it up, we're talking about ways to take back your power and your initiative in life and to not give in to the feeling that your life is over, that you're too old, that you're not experienced enough, that you're not good enough, that you should just not even try because it's too late, you've procrastinated for too long, whatever the lie is that keeps coming up. I want to help shatter that illusion that it's too late, because I think that's a big illusion for a lot of us, is that you feel like it's too late or I've had too many chances already, and that can be an incredibly depressing and devastating feeling and heavy and daunting. But hopefully after this episode, you'll feel a little bit more alleviated and also feel and also have practical things to do to combat this, to ensure that this feeling doesn't become this really thick illusion that actually you start to believe. But because it's just a feeling. So you might feel like it's too late, but it's just a feeling. It doesn't get to demand your life. But before we do that, we're going to go into Dubs and L's, and then we're going to go in the details. We'll talk about the main topic, and then we'll do a Dear Abby, which I'm very excited about. My dub for this week, and for those of you that are new, every episode almost every episode, I do a dub and an L. I went to my little baby brother's wedding. He married his best friend. It was a really sweet ceremony. And I love seeing him in love and married. And it's always a little bit scary when you're like your brothers or your little siblings get married. But I've liked all of my brothers' wives so far. So far, so good. So I traveled to Arizona, which is where a lot of my family is now, to go to the wedding. It's always nice seeing my family going back home. I love California. I want to live here forever because I love the beach. I love the weather. You just can't beat it. Honestly, you just can't. You can always go on a walk every day, year round. But because a lot of my family is still in Arizona, every time I go back, you just can't beat the family time. And just having all my siblings all together in the same place, joking and hanging out. Played this game called Feed the Kraken. It's a board game. It's kind of like, it's a game where you have to lie to each other, but you're in teams and you can play with up to, I think, 12 people or 11 people. So it's like a party game, and it's very, very fun. Highly recommend if you like those types of scheming games. They get very competitive. I've told people this before, but one main reason why I never felt the need to go have a bunch of friends is because I had my siblings, and I have my sister and my little brothers and my older brothers and my mom and my dad. And they're all fun and funny, and I love playing board games with them. And there's something that's incredibly calming to me, that if I am vulnerable, or if I make a mistake and I get into an argument, or someone in my family hurts my feelings and we go into and we argue about it, it's comforting to me that they don't judge me based off of that one interaction. Because I think in this time with the internet and with people being able to psychoanalyze and judge based off of a 5-second impression of somebody's relationship, or just somebody in general saying something and having an immediate judgment, I think I see that a lot online, and it kind of translates to in person. And that always makes me nervous if I say one wrong thing, or if I am not my best self one day and I'm feeling sad or overwhelmed, or I'm a little more quiet, and I don't want somebody to just put me in a box of all the annoying things or selfish things I've done in my life. That doesn't feel very good, and I don't want to do that to other people. I think there's nothing worse feeling, honestly. There's really not a whole lot worse than feeling like you're being put into a box. For me personally, like, I feel very claustrophobic in that, because there's a lot of things that I want to change about myself. Long story short, siblings, because they've seen you and you've fought with them so much growing up, so much, some of them more than others, but you fight with them so much, and you've had to say a sorry a million times. And there is a really comforting part about that to me. I just know I'm not going to be judged based off of one bad day. If I've been super nice for months and months and months, and one bad day I'm having a bad day, don't communicate it perfectly, don't do everything perfectly, and then someone holds me to that for the rest of my life, that's what I'm scared people that don't know me will do. And I think that's exactly what family is supposed to be, in my opinion. We played some board games, like I said. We played this game, I think it's called 12 Minutes. If you like Nancy Drew games, or if you like mystery games that are kind of eerie, it's such a good game. It's called 12 Minutes. I think you can buy it on Steam. I think it's such a good game if you like that stuff. It might take you a couple of hours. It just depends on how good you are at that stuff, but it's really fun. We actually haven't finished it yet, so I don't know how it ends, but it's very fun and thrilling and frustrating, but in a good, fun way. However, my one piece of advice, if you play games like that, and there's only one person that controls what's happening, and if you're the one person, I fell into the role of controlling the mouse and the keyboard, there was about a 2-second delay from when I moved the mouse to when it moved on the screen. And everybody was yelling at me and getting mad at me for not being able to control the lag on my mouse. So that was incredibly annoying and rude of them all. I would like to see them try. I would like to see them try to move the mouse perfectly and with a 2-second delay to guess exactly where it'll land because it moves at the wrong time. It's very hard to land exactly where you want it to with the lag. And that matters a lot in the game. It matters in the game. You got to be quick with it without giving too much away. And I had my husband in my ear telling me and getting annoyed with me. But all in all, it was fun. But it was still fun, even though I was incredibly annoyed with everybody. Nobody was giving me a break. And also, did I hear a thank you the whole time? No, I didn't hear any thank yous. Nobody said thank you for running the game. Do you know how hard it is to listen to 5 different people's opinions on what we should do next, but you're the one in control? And when I said, maybe we should start taking votes as to what we do next so we're all on the same page and nobody gets their feelings hurt. And then they laughed at me. What am I supposed to do with that? How am I supposed to make everybody happy? I couldn't. And then the next day, half the people didn't want to play anymore. But it's a fun game. My last dub, sorry, I know I'm going on and on. This will be quick. My last dub is that I actually made good chocolate chip cookies by browning the butter at the beginning. Didn't know that would help so much, but gives it that nice crunchy flavor that makes it like a world of difference when you have a chocolate chip cookie. And normally my chocolate chip cookies are okay. They're just kind of like sugar cakes, but they don't taste like a chocolate chip cookie. And my husband's really nice about it because I swear I destroy all of the cookies that I try to make him. Anyways, but I'm great at making cake. My L is, while it was very fun to be home and to play games, we stayed up way too late every single night. And the past 2 days at work, I have been so tired. Where by the time it's 1 o'clock, I'm like, I'll kind of fall asleep and I'll wake up in a panic. And I'm really hoping nobody noticed that I just like freaked out and grabbed my mouse really fast or something. Now let's go in the details. When I was younger, I went to yoga teacher training to become a yoga instructor. I finished the training. I loved it. I learned a ton about your body, your mind, how it all connects, how it all works. And I learned how to walk people through a meditation, how to walk people through a class. We would teach, I think it was like a 90-minute class, sometimes 60 minutes, but they would teach you how to create a class that's actually beneficial. During the yoga teacher training, we would move our bodies for like that 5-6 hours a day, because I think I did an expedited program. So we were there. It was like a full day of school, basically. We would move our bodies because we had practiced so much all day. And I remember feeling like I could breathe so much deeper. And I remember feeling so good physically. My chest could rise and fall deeper. I was way more flexible. I felt mobile. I always think back to that time whenever I feel tight or like I can't get a good deep breath all the time, because I have to remind myself how helpful movement is for my body, and not just walking. And walking's great, and I have been doing that and it's felt great, but to become mobile and flexible, there's something about that for me that really helps with my mental state, like a ton. And we learned a little bit about how much, if you are stagnant, how much it does actually affect your mental health and your brain and the function of your brain. So as I talked about recently feeling uncomfortable a little bit in my body just from working in an office for a couple years now, I've been taking movement and stretching very seriously, and yoga, and kind of building strength in those movements, and then also being able to relax your muscles and stretch, like get a good deep stretch. Love stretching because there's something about rolling out my mat in the morning, laying down, looking at the sky. Sometimes I get some existential OCD thoughts because, no shocker there, the sky is one of the biggest triggers for that, always has been. but I sit through it. I feel that uncomfortable sensation, but then I'm able to have a prayerful, thoughtful meditation where to me it's less about just my mind. It's more about me trying to connect to something, to God, and to let something that is much more wise and kinder than me to try to just connect to that first thing in the morning or when I'm going to bed at night. And I feel like that is, for me, has always been something that helps my mental state as well. So all in all parts of it, the physical, mental, spiritual aspect of the surrendering and the stretching, something I'm incredibly grateful for that I do take for granted sometimes. And I don't do just because it sounds boring in my brain's like, you need to be doing something more productive. But I think that is a lie. And I get so many benefits when I do the practice of stretching and surrendering. And I think the physical act of stretching and sitting in a position for quite a while does help you visualize and does help you kind of surrender and feel more connected to the earth that we live on. Because sometimes we can feel alien to life, to earth, to the stars, the moon, to things around us. But really, there's no need to fear any of it. So now let's get into the meat of today's episode. So today's episode was inspired by a video that I saw. The video was an 80-year-old lady, and she is in amazing shape. I mean, she's very toned. She looks healthy. She looks happy. She's glowing, and she's in her 80s. And she had posted a video of how sometimes she'll hear or she'll see a comment on her stuff that says she's probably just been fit her whole life. It's easier to do that when you've been fit your whole life. And just a common theme that people just assumed that she had been in shape her whole life. And that's why she was in good shape at the age of 80. Then she shows how she actually didn't start to work out until her mid 70s, I believe. She wasn't in shape her whole life. She didn't do that her whole life. She wasn't just born in shape and then maintained it somehow. She showed that in her 70s, she wasn't in the best shape of her life. She didn't take care of herself the way that she did now in her 80s. And the way that I saw the video and how I perceived it and the story and the moral of her story that I took away from it was it's never too late to start taking care of something that needs to be taken care of. And it's never too late to get stronger and to be more powerful and to get stronger in any area. It's never too late to make a decision to restart somewhere or start over somewhere or to become something. And I really appreciated that message because the message came at a time where I felt very deflated, frustrated with myself that I'm almost 30 and there's a lot of things that I still want to do. But my mind was trying to convince me that, and because I feel sad sometimes and fearful that I'm not going to be able to do the things that I want to do, my mind sometimes will lie to me and tell me that it's too late, that I've already taken too much time to start something, or that I'm already too unhealthy to try to start to take care of my body, or even regarding the stretching that I just mentioned, sometimes it feels like, what's the point? Some people are already very flexible and they're already where you want to be at your age and even younger. And those thoughts can be really loud and they can be really convincing. So that can weigh heavy on your heart, and that can keep you in a place where you don't want to do anything because you feel almost frustrated that you didn't do anything. So you don't do anything. It kind of paralyzes you. I'm also really grateful to see people who are older than me take initiative with their life and to share and inspire others that they feel fulfilled and they feel excited about their future, even if they don't have 50 years left. and they have significantly less, but they don't let that dictate how they approach life. So the feeling of it's too late, or what's the point? The feeling of it's too late for you. You're too old. If you haven't done it now, you're never going to do it. That feeling sometimes can feel convincing because it might be pulling from our past, because maybe we wanted to do something, we literally have not done it. So our brain is a little bit, it's kind of clocking us for acting like we want to do something, for saying we want to do something, but not ever actually doing it. So I've listed a couple of things to help take your power back in that way, and to also combat those thoughts, and to not let those thoughts win that tell you it's too late and that will try to keep you down still. First things first, learn to forgive yourself, because nothing haunts you more than continuously guilt tripping yourself for shoving the worst days of your life and shoving the worst things that you've done, the most selfish, the whatever it is, the worst things that you've done. Nothing makes you more stuck than just replaying those over and over and over and over and over again. Lots of people handle forgiving themselves in many different ways, but take the time to walk yourself through that forgiveness, and then it makes it a lot easier to move on and to make space for something else. So the next thing is self-talk. Take notice if there is a common belief, a common thought pattern that happens when you try something new, or that happens and there can even be thought patterns and feelings that come up when you even think about starting something new, or when you even think about the idea of what if I did this. Sometimes this immediate feeling kind of rushes over and says, don't even start that thing. You're not going to actually do it. So notice when the thoughts come that tell you your life is over, or the feelings that might overwhelm you with the sense of dread, or nothing's going to change. You've messed up too many times. Your life is over. Notice when those come in, and we don't need to suppress them, especially if you have OCD, that's not going to work if you're just suppressing thoughts, acting like they don't exist. Rather, we can face those thoughts and gently rewrite the ending of that rabbit hole. And also be curious about why you might think your life is over. We might say to ourselves, like, I believe that I have a lot left I believe that I have a lot left to give. There's a lot more life that I can live. There's more things that I want to do. I have a wonderful, beautiful life ahead of me. And it might not feel like that's real, and you might not really fully believe it yet. And that's okay. That's okay. It might take a while for you to really believe something like that if it's been a long time for you. But stand up for yourself, to your mind. Don't let your mind, and don't let anyone or anything, including yourself, bully you into not becoming and not doing and not living life according to your own rules. And don't underestimate the power of courageous belief in something. Don't underestimate the change that will come if you really start to tell yourself that you believe that you have a lot left in your life, that you have a beautiful, amazing future in front of you. That's not doom and gloom. What if your future is so bright? What if there's even more connection to be had? What if there is more light, more laughter, more peace, more freedom? What if that's in your future instead? And kind of hold on to those small, tiny beliefs and foster that and take care of that. I was always told the same thing with believing in God, that you have to start with like a little, they call it like a mustard seed of faith, a mustard seed, which is tiny. It's like, if that's all you believe, God can work with that, like life can work with that. So let that work in you. Let that, like, water it, let it grow. It can be, if you have a lot of cynical thoughts, if that can be something you struggle with, is just naturally being more cynical, recognize that maybe even if you start to believe, you might have combative thoughts that try to get you to not believe because it's foolish, or that it's dumb because you can't prove it. But one of my favorite Pinterest quotes that I have saved and pinned is, this is a quote that is from, I don't know, Wisdom Life. I don't know actually who said this, but it's from The Art of Believing. It says, both fear and faith ask you to believe in something you can't see. You choose. I feel like I sometimes have a cynical side to me because I grew up and I really believed in, and I really took my faith in God and in life, and in the idea that life is really beautiful and amazing and everything is purposeful and can grow into meaning and can grow and has meaning. And as I got older, I realized not everybody believes that. And also they don't like that I believe that, so I started to kind of dim my belief, dim my light, if you will, because I didn't want to sound stupid and I didn't want to sound foolish or uneducated or naive in any way. But now that I've been through some heavy stuff, I realize like how proud I was of myself growing up, and how that is just my childlike, and how that's just how I was as a child. Like, there's nothing wrong with believing in something so beautiful, believing in God, believing in, whatever you believe in, your faith, or even just in life, like what values you believe in and what you ground yourself in. There's no shame in that, and there's no foolishness in that. I think the opposite. People are kinder to each other. People are more gentle with each other. People are more understanding when they believe in good things and when they believe in a positive future, even if they don't feel it all the time. I don't always feel this overwhelming, like everything's amazing and it's going to be amazing. I feel anxious. I feel nervous about the future sometimes. But I kind of combat that with the understanding that I get to choose whether I'm going to lean into the fear or lean into faith. Another way to combat this idea that your life is over is to visualize. To visualize your future. Like, for example, who are you with? How do you feel? What do you feel grounded in? Where are you living? Who are you living with? Who do you see every day? What do you do every day? What do you do in your free time? The desires of your heart, what are those? And to visualize like a manifestation of that, and then open your heart into believing in it. Believe that there is a reason you have these wants and these things and these kind of needs in your heart. And then another step would be to take action, obviously. Take risks, calculated, smart risks. Listen to your intuition. If you have OCD, sometimes intuition can be a daunting word, honestly, an idea. It can feel confusing and we can overthink it or try to figure out just exactly what it is, or what is and what isn't intuition, and is it God, is it not God? Like, we can overcomplicate it, and diving deeper and deeper into that can complicate it. And then we probably don't feel, my experience is I don't feel close to myself and I don't trust myself. So it doesn't even matter if I have intuition flowing. I'm not listening to it because I'm too scared to act. So sometimes before we can even listen to our intuition or listen to ourselves, we need to go to therapy, do recovery work with OCD, or if you're struggling with something, and just to slowly peel back the layers so that way it's not as loud in our brains and in our minds and our hearts. So it's easier to navigate through life, and we have a more confident inner voice. And then the last thing that I had written down to help is to make room for the good things by getting rid of the bad things. What are bad things? I think you probably have an idea of some things that are not great for you, but like, what thought patterns are clearly not helping you feel happy and feel better? What people in your life are really damaging you? And is there something, and that doesn't equal you having to shut them out completely or just getting rid of that person. It can just look like it is showing you that you need to stand up for yourself. You need to communicate a need. You need to communicate something that's on your heart that you're scared you're going to get judged for if you tell them, because holding stuff like that in does eventually, I think, come out. It's not clear anymore. And now it's going to be more complicated, and the person's probably not going to be as responsive because you might not say it in a kind way, versus if you have an idea of something that you need from somebody else and that you can communicate, then that can be a great way to start the evolution, or to start a change within yourself and within a dynamic or a relationship. What habits, what daily rituals, what daily habits do you have that really aren't serving you and that aren't helping you feel better eventually, and that are not sustaining you, I guess would be the word. Because there's like vain or empty distractions or habits that we have that can just simply be replaced by something a little bit more valuable. What behaviors can be replaced, or habits can be replaced or kind of upgraded into something a little bit more valuable, maybe to yourself, to your heart, to you. For me, because I have OCD, it can be certain compulsions. Like that always cuts deep. Anytime I think about what compulsions and what things am I doing that I can get rid of and that I can slowly start to do less of, to feel more like myself and to actually be able to live according to how I want to live, not how my scared, fearful OCD wants me to live. And something I've learned is this: when you want some kind of life-changing experience, or you want to change your life around, and maybe not super drastically, but just enough to where you start to feel better, it normally doesn't happen by doing the same things over and over again, by doing the things that aren't working over and over again, but by, again, making room for new things by getting rid of the old things. So I'd say, to sum it up, list out, journal, whatever you need to do to make it real and to see it, but list out the things that you can get rid of or that you can upgrade or change to open up some room for new things, new beliefs, new feelings, new thoughts, new experiences, new connections. What can you consciously let go of? Okay, I think that's all that I wanted to say about that. I hope any of that made sense, of course. And now we will do a Dear Abbey. Let me get my handy dandy phone.
Dear Abbey, I just recently discovered that I'm pretty sure I have ADHD, and I've always kind of joked that I might have it because of random symptoms that I've had like my whole life. But after actually looking at a full list of all the symptoms, I related to like 90% of them, which is a lot more than what I thought it was going to be. So I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should go talk to my doctor or go talk to a specialist. I'm scared that if I go to my doctor, they're just going to prescribe me something and move on, because that's what they did when I went to them about my anxiety. And like, it ended up being okay. Like, my meds are helping, but I feel like with this, I just kind of want like a more short answer, if I can actually say that I have it or not. And Like, I kind of just want a good plan, like, if I do have it, a good plan going forward of how to help with it, and if I don't, then still what I can do to help with the symptoms that I have. So, yeah, just wondering what you think I should do. Thanks. Bye.
Okay. First thing I would say is you're probably right that if you went to just your general physician, they would probably immediately prescribe you something. And if you feel like you want something a little bit more tailored to you, I don't know. For me personally, and I am not an expert on any of this, I never felt helped by my general physician. I felt the same way. They just were in and out, prescribed me something. I didn't really feel like they were listening. They just kind of said, okay, you have some symptoms, here you go, versus figuring it out with me. Because sometimes what we say at first isn't the real thing behind it, and it's nice to have somebody that is patient enough and is slowing down to really understand what's happening. I get that fear, and I'm the same way. I really love tailored therapy. There's BetterHelp. I know that's like a big one. And I know they have ADHD therapy, or like therapists that specialize. And so I would say you can look this up online to search for specialists in ADHD, because that makes a huge difference in going to someone who's like a general therapist, because not that they're not great, but I just think people need to be specialized in the mental health world, because the treatments are all different. So if you don't understand the specifics of something, I don't think people are able to treat it effectively. That's just my opinion. I know there's like ADHD coaching online, which isn't the same as therapy. It's a little bit different, but if you wanted to try that, or even before shopping around for a therapist or shopping around for how to get like an answer, I would say to just research it on YouTube, honestly. Listen to other people's stories who have ADHD, look it up, listen to what they say, listen to who they went to get diagnosed. I know BetterHelp and apps like that would be able to diagnose you and then get you started on treatment and offer that. But also YouTube for me was really helpful when I hadn't gotten it, when I didn't have a diagnosis and I just wanted to understand myself more. And also I wanted to see what was out there available to help people like me and to help with my OCD specifically. Mindset also going into this time in your life and shopping around for a therapist is to not expect to find something really fast, and to not feel the need to get every answer immediately, because it's probably going to be a bit of a journey. Soak in all the bits and pieces of feeling understood finally, because there probably will be a time when you talk to somebody who's an expert on this and you feel finally understood by somebody who's a professional and who is educated, and that'll feel good, and you'll feel like a little piece of you is healed by that, instead of feeling invalidated or dramatic or, whatever it is. But just take it one day at a time. It may be tempting to get discouraged if you don't find an answer right away, but just know that there are a lot of people and therapists and coaches who dedicate their life to helping people that struggle with ADHD and that have particularly chosen to specialize in something like ADHD to help people who are searching for answers and for people who are searching for understanding of themselves. So don't give up on that pursuit, and there is hope out there. I don't have ADHD, but I know people that do, and I always hear that therapy and just having somebody understand is so helpful. And also being able to have homework to do by somebody that knows what will actually help you and what will not is life-changing. So everyone's journey with medication when they struggle is super personal, and it's not always super linear. It's pretty dynamic. Keep your options open. If you down the road feel like medication is something that your therapist that you trust and people that you trust think you should give it a try, then maybe give it a try if you feel like it works, if you feel like it feels good to try it. But it's always kind of hard when you don't want to self-diagnose, because you almost don't want to get your hopes up that there are people that are like you, and also that there might be a solution out there that might help you feel better. It's always this hard in between line of not wanting to self-diagnose. When you feel like somebody is talking about how your brain works and they're saying a name that goes along with it, it is comforting to hear that. So if you relate to what they say about ADHD, then yeah, I say go for it, and don't let anything stand in your way to try to understand yourself. Because even if it's not that, then they come back with something else, then you understand. Okay, I wish you all the best on that journey, and I hope that you meet a great, lovely therapist that is open, understanding, and helps you feel understood, because you deserve to feel understood. That's going to be it for today's episode, you guys. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Dear Abby. If you want to support the podcast, you can leave a rating and review on Apple and Spotify, as well as like, subscribe, comment on YouTube. I post all of my podcasts on there as well. If you want to go above and beyond, you can post a little clip or just put me on your story. And if you want to go above and beyond, you can post my podcast on your story on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, whatever you're on, Substack, I don't know, whatever the kids are on these days, and shout me out. I would appreciate that. Or you can just tell people word of mouth, the good old fashioned way. Say, hey, this is a great podcast. I would also appreciate that. I hope you guys have a wonderful, beautiful weekend. Take yourself out, be kind to yourself, and love you guys. Bye.
우회전 taking a ride to join a late 눈치 보면서 들어가 할 때 찾아 나머진 바빠 개설레임 바꾸는 사람들